Welcome to DS Trucks. In this video, we're going to be talking about fender flare removal on the F450 aluminum duty trucks 17 through 22. How do you remove the fender flares? How do you adjust your fender flares? Do you have a weird gap? I know for the longest time I had a weird gap right here. And looking at some of the forums and everything, I noticed that there are other people out there with sometimes they have a weird gap, weird body line in here. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how to remove your fender flares on your 450, how to adjust them, and how to reinstall them so they look good as new. Here's the clip. Roll it. We are going to be removing our fender flares as well, and there is a little bit of trick to that in order to make sure you do not damage your paint. And I've done this before, and when I first did this fender flare removal, I actually, when I reinstalled it, there was a little bit more of a gap after removing it, and I attribute that to not taking enough time to actually warm up the fender flare. So this time I'm actually letting this heater kind of focus its heat right on this fender flare because it is cold outside. It's like 30 degrees outside. It's freezing out, and if I don't warm this up first, then I can have issues removing it. So once I get this off, hopefully I can kind of play with it a little bit and adjust it so that that gap is not noticeable by anybody but me, but hopefully I can adjust this so that this gap is not showing. But basically, to remove this, you have to take off your mud flap. You got screws down here, which we'll have to grab a light so you can see that, but you've got screws holding your mud flap on. You got to remove that. We've got push pins in here that you're going to end up having to remove, and then there's I believe that's it, but once we get in there we'll really see, but I believe that's it. Once you get this fender flare off, then you can go ahead and start working on the other components. But let's go ahead and get this fender flare off of the truck. Alright, so number one, I'm going to go ahead and remove this mud flap. I think it's just 3 screws here, so we're just going to pop these 3 out using a ratchet. There's actually a screw right here and a push pin that needs to be removed right there. Alright, so mud flap off. Next step, fender flare. And to get the fender flare, first thing to do, push pins. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 it looks like. Let's go ahead and get those off. We do have a push pin puller. We have a little kit that we've got from Amazon. Just a normal cheap little kit from Amazon. Let's go ahead and get this off. Alright, so those 4 push pins are out. They are removed, and they are the 2-piece style. So you got to pull the top part out, and then it will release. And from there, we just got to work this thing off. Now, as I said before, I pulled this into the warm garage. I raised the temperature up to 60 degrees for about 30 minutes. And I also focused some heat on this unit. Now, I could also get a heat gun if I wanted to, staying far away from it, not getting close and thinning the paint or anything like that, but just take a heat gun and just warm this up a little. I'm gonna go for it. It's just gonna take it and work it loose here a little, grabbing by the bottom right now. Oh, there she goes, man. Warming it up really did help, it seems. And oh, okay, pulling away. It's coming apart a little better than it did the first time I did this. Well, I did it cold, and that wasn't good. Working it loose, coming down here. And did I get everything? Is there anything? Oh, there's a screw down here. There is a screw down here. Let's see. Oh, there is. Okay. Let me grab that screw real quick before I go any further. And I'll take that loose. Now we should be able to take her off. Let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so with this off, you can see that the fender flare gets quite dirty. So yeah, I'm actually going to set this down somewhere. You got to be cognizant of the fact that this is a painted piece of material, so you can't just lay it down on the ground. You actually got to set it down somewhere nice, and that is what I'm going to be doing. I'm putting it here on this drop cloth so it doesn't get destroyed while we're working on the truck. Anyway, see you guys at the next scene. All right, guys. So I put the Fender Flare on the truck, and I noticed that it still didn't look right. And I took it off again, and I noticed something. If you look at this tab here, it's over top of this black inner section, and this tab isn't. This tab isn't. This one is. This one is. This one is. So it looks as if these two tabs just need to be moved so that they are underneath the black. So let's see if I can do this with one hand. Otherwise, I have to set this camera. I'll have to set the camera down. Let me set this up. Well, that's the other section. These aren't connected. These are. Haha, that did it. Now this is behind this little plastic tab here. Then I can maybe push these back. Thing's so dirty. That gets a push pan hole through it. That gets a push pan hole through it. So yeah, that did it. Now let's see how it fits. All right, Fender Flare going on the truck. Round 2. Here we go. Let's line it all up. Haha. Now that looks good. Now let me grab the camera and look at how the Fender Flare looks. So if your Fender Flare, if you got a 450 and your Fender Flare looks like it has a gap here, then you just need to take this thing off and reposition the plastic inner frame. It's probably missing a tab, but yeah, that looks legit perfect. Anyway, let me get some screws and push pins in here, and I'll be on my way. All right, that's it, and that's that. How to install your Fender Flares. Hopefully that helped you out if you are interested in that. I know there's probably not a whole lot of people with these trucks interested in doing Fender Flares, but I figured I'd put it out there because I had the video footage already. So anyway, my name is Sean. This is DS Trucks. This is our 2020 F450. It's got a stainless steel snow plow on it. But if you like these videos, please subscribe to the channel. Hope to see you in the next one. Over and out. Bye.